I will be in a minute.
Good evening and welcome to episode 26 of About the Cards podcast, live tonight on YouTube. As always, with my co-host Ben Wilson at our trading cards. I'm Tim Shepler at Big Ship 79, and Stefan Loeffler at Junkwax Twins again is on assignment. He's deep in a, well, we can't tell you quite where he is. We don't want to blow his cover with the CIA. But he will hopefully be back with us live next week. And Matthew S., yes, that song is staying around. I saw your comment. It's amazing. It's our new theme song. It's lovely. It's called Happy Boy. And that's just because we have been Happy Boy Wilson on the show.
That's right. Who is always 100%, 110%, which is a statistical anomaly, happy. Always. I never disagree with anyone. I never antagonize anyone. Life is good.
Yeah. Like we always say, we're a podcast by collectors for collectors. We hope to bring you a smart, insightful podcast discussing trading cards and collecting, live every Wednesday at 8 p.m. on Pacific Standard Time on YouTube. You can always follow us on Twitter at About the Cards. We're available on Stitcher and iTunes. Just search About Cards and also make sure to subscribe here on YouTube. And that way you'll get a little notification, a little ding, and it will tell you when we go live. So, Ben, we had a couple questions early on Twitter. One was from Chris Torres. We're going to let you lead off the show tonight, and no, because we don't want. But he said you had an exciting week on Twitter.
That's right.
I think it was just the AL Central fans that were.
Getting on you. We were talking before the show started. Sometime last year, I had said something about the Braves, and if you hashtag Braves in a negative way. Oh boy, the people that will come out and defend the Braves. I've hashtagged every team probably under the sun for the three main sports, because I don't get into too much hockey just because I don't know enough to hold my own. Braves fans are just irate. And this week I had made a comment stating that if Nelson Cruz were to sign with the Twins, which was a rumor on the Major League Baseball Network, a couple of guys were talking, Cruz might go to the Twins as their DH. I was like, give Cruz, with Jonathan Scope and CJ Cron, and all of a sudden they look like they might be the odds-on favorites, since it looks like the Indians are in the word that triggered people, dismantle mode, because they're talking about trading Kluber and Bauer, and they've already got rid of Gomes, and now Encarnacion might be on his way out, and we're not dismantling, and it's like, oh boy. You want to talk about antagonizing a whole group of people on Twitter. I had so much fun.
They're still sad about Game 6 or Game 7 of 2016 World Series, and that's still where they're living. So, we were missing Steph tonight, but it's okay. He'll be back. I was assured that next week he will be with us. He sends his love to all of his fan, which I think is his wife, Angela. And we're not even quite sure, but we can't confirm that rumor. And breaking news, Bryce Harper is signing with the Royals. I just found that out, inside source.
Well, that's good, because now they've got a 1 and 2 hitter. Billy Hamilton's OPS is actually going to be above 150 this year.
They're giving him the franchise. They're just signing over the franchise. Here you go. There you go. We're going to get into the week that was last week's releases. And guess what, folks? As predicted by yours truly here, Topps Living Week 39 was the 39th out of 39 weeks. We finally have a dumpster week. Luis Severino, pitcher of the Yankees, sold just over 4,000. When I said just over 4,000, it was 4,000 and Roger Maris, 61. He was 101 out of 117 so far. Felix Jorge, the former pitcher of the Minnesota Twins, currently a free agent, the rookie, sold almost 3,500. He was 115 out of 117. And Trey Mancini, outfielder for the Baltimore Orioles, sold 10 short of 5,300. Or I'm sorry, 3,500. 3,500. He was 114 out of 117. So a pretty terrible week. It brings us just over 802,341 cards so far printed. I'm not surprised at all. And I'm glad that I bought Felix Jorge because now I look on eBay and they're going for like 19 to 20 bucks. And it makes me happy.
It's all artificial market. I mean, we talked about that so many times. You know, our friend Jenny brought up a good point today on Twitter. You know, how is a card at 11:59 worth $5 and at 12:01, 2 minutes later, all of a sudden worth 10 to 15 bucks? You know, Topps, you know, some of these on demands that are only available for 24 hours. I understand, you know, there's a limited time, but these are available for 7 days before they expire. And you know, if you're in the market for any one of these cards, you have plenty of time to see these jump by a 3-4 times multiplier in a matter of minutes after the stroke of noon on Wednesday is absolutely asinine, and it's not going to have as much holding power as the Mark Jackson Menendez brothers card.
We're gonna get to that later.
Yeah. But it's one of those things that you see these trends. You know, we can look back to Steven Strasburg. His rookie card selling for 10 grand. We can look back to Linsanity. Jeremy Lin was just going nuts. And now, I mean, if you want to build a Jeremy Lin PC, I mean, you can probably get every card he ever had, you know, within reason, base cards probably for under, you know, a $20 bill.
Oh, no. And that no doubt on that, you know, and he was just, he was a flash in a pan, and we will see. But, yeah, I don't even know where he's playing anymore. I know he was in Jersey.
He was in Jersey last I looked.
Charlotte now, maybe. So
you know, he was a good player. Looks like he's with the Atlanta Hawks.
Oh, there we go.
So that's cool.
Yeah. So also last week we had 2018 Panini Obsidian Football and 2018 Topps Dynasty Baseball. And we're going to hop into this awesome week of hot off the presses. So get ready. To be honest, like, you know, this week there's actually a bunch of releases, you know, 2 weeks before Christmas, as we sit here, actually like 13 days before the big guy comes and brings me, so hopefully, some binders and pages. My family, you know, thinks I'm crazy. I ask Santa Claus for binders and pages, but that's what I like.
That stuff's expensive.
It is
when you're buying it in bulk.
And one touches. I mean, those are my favorite things.
And it's only 12 days until Christmas, because you can't. Walmart always irritates me. You walk into Walmart and it's like, 13 days. It's like, no, it's 12 days, because Santa Claus comes the night of. So it's 12 days, 3 hours away.
Yeah.
To the stroke of midnight on Christmas. By saying 13, you're including Christmas.
Okay.
But at that point, he's already there.
He's been inside my house while I was asleep.
He's already been inside where you live. He very well could be. But, you know, there's a fun website called xmasclock.com. Like right now I'm looking at it, 12 days, 3 hours, 50 minutes. I have this up on my computer screen most of December. Yeah, mostly for me. You know, it's kind of fun to look at and see the clock, especially on Christmas Eve, because then it's just an hour clock countdown. And if you're up at the stroke of midnight, then it zeroes out. For one full day. It strokes the stroke of midnight for 24 hours, and then it counts down 364 days, 23 hours, and so on and so forth. It's fantastic.
Well, that's awesome. So we have week 40 here of Topps Living. We have card number 118, the Hall of Famer, the greatest pitcher of all time, Nolan Ryan. He is blessed to be in a Texas Rangers uniform. He's the third Ranger. Card 119, AJ Minter, pitcher, rookie, Atlanta Braves. He's our sixth Brave. And then card 120, Harrison Bader, outfielder, rookie, St. Louis Cardinals, our fifth Cardinal. Now, real quick thing. Minter is the sixth Brave, but the third rookie they've had this season, if you count Albies and Acuna as well. Bader is the fifth Cardinal. He's the fourth Cardinal rookie. They've had 4 of the 5. And the veteran of the Cardinals, Paul DeJong.
It's not like the Cardinals are, the Tampa Bay Rays where they don't have a history.
Or,
I mean, the Cardinals. I mean, even if you didn't go with some of the bigger names,
they have 5 cards, and all the guys are
throwaways at this point. Yeah, they're all forgettable. I mean, the Cardinals have such a history. Even if you stuck away from the top 10, you could go to their next 10, and you would still have big name players because the Cardinals have been around forever.
Yeah, like Lou Brock, the guy that they fleeced the Cubs for. That's just for once a Cub. Stan Musial, Eno Slaughter, Bob Gibson.
Well, you know what would be a cool
that asshat Tim McCarver.
You know who would be cool right now?
Andy Van Slyke.
Yeah, it would be Curt Flood. Why? Because right now it's Wednesday of the winter meetings, which is the big free agency hub, and you could pay ode to Curt Flood with the whole, hey, if not for him, these guys wouldn't be signing these mega deals. Guys like Lance Lynn wouldn't be signing for an average value of $10 million. When Reggie Jackson signed, what his first was like a $4 million deal or something like that with the Yankees, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, it was relative to the time frame.
Yeah, Jenny puts in 2 Cardinals here: Bob Gibson and Mark McGwire. Like, no, I'm just saying, there's guys. Currently Matt Carpenter, Ozzie Smith, absolutely. Jack Clark. I mean, there's tons of guys I'd rather have than Harrison flipping Bader or Paul DeJong. Anyway, and then AJ Minter. There's not a better Brave that you can add in there. Sean Newcomb comes to mind real quick.
Yeah, but see the thing. Yeah, I mean, Newcomb's going to be, if he's going to be a star.
But it's a rookie card, right? Isn't Newcomb qualified as a rookie this season?
I believe so. But
so why wouldn't you put?
Because Newcomb probably could lead his own week sometime next summer.
But as a rookie, would you rather have the rookie logo on it? I would.
When I saw the whole thing,
AJ Minter,
I saw the whole thing with Nolan Ryan, and I was like, he's a Ranger. He's a Ranger. He spent 5 years there. Well, he also spent 5 years with the Mets, and then he spent 8 years with the Angels and 9 years with the Astros.
He should be an Astro.
He should be an Astro or an Angel. I mean, but see, and this goes back to the point that we were talking about, and we've talked about. We've beat it to death at this point. Nolan Ryan. We could talk about what we predict him to sell, but you're telling me no matter what he sells, he won't do that a year from now if you put him as an Astro or an Angel or a Met?
To me, this was set of the year, and it's pulled a Cleveland Cavaliers blowing a 3-1 lead in the finals.
Yeah, I mean,
it was so far ahead of everything else this year, and the last, really since the Machado Dodger card got released, it's shit the bed.
I don't disagree. I mean, it's been, guys like Severino. You put Severino this week with a guy like, an Ozzie Smith, who's a Hall of Famer. He's not necessarily an uber superstar though, because a lot of his weight, a lot of his value came from the defensive side of the ball. But if you put Severino, Yankees #1 pitcher, with an Ozzie Smith or Lou Brock or Curt Flood, I think it pumps Severino. I think you get an extra 15 to 20% out of him. I just think this week, when you reflect upon last week's numbers, you look at it and go, all right, cool. I'm just going to sit this one out entirely because there's nobody there I want.
No.
Yeah,
no, I mean, that was week 30. I just looked up when Machado was released. So now we've gone 9 weeks. And then also, too, the other thing that really pissed me off is we talked about this post-show was maybe Goldie getting in this week as a Diamondback. The last week they could probably make it viable.
Right.
Well, hey, we had it in the works, but we didn't get it out. Okay, he got traded, but here, let's push it out anyway. That would have been acceptable because 10 years from now, no one's going to really remember when that card exactly was released. And then, they're going to, hey, it was towards the end of the year when he got traded. But now we'll never have a goal. But we'll never have a goal. But we'll never have a Goldie as a Diamondback. And currently, and that's probably how he's mostly going to be remembered.
No, and Goldschmidt, even if he stays with the Cardinals for 1 year, which is, expected, that he'll at least hit free agency following next year, since that Diamondbacks contract was extremely undervalued.
Yeah.
So you have to think that he's going to try to get something like a 3-year, $70 to $80 million deal. But yeah, you get Goldschmidt as a Diamondback now. In July or August, you release him as a Cardinal. And then depending on what happens, next winter, either he re-signs with the Cardinals and you already have a Cardinal card of him, or he can have he can have his Yankee card in 2020 or 2021 during that contract. So Goldschmidt, Ryan, and Bader. What's wrong with that? What's wrong with that? Nothing.
No. And then, so we're going to move on because we have a lot to get to tonight. And last week we had like a 2-hour show with 3 releases. So, and we got a lot of talk later too about, disappointment. So, kind of like Ben Sex Life. 2018 Panini Elite Extra Edition Baseball got launched today. Supposedly. I didn't see anything about it, anybody opening it or really anywhere. So, but I actually kind of did work a little bit today, which I normally, Wednesdays are my day. I kind of do research for the show, but I was a little busy today. But we have a $94 a box, 5 packs per box, 5 cards per pack. You're going to get 8 autograph cards, 2 relic cards, 5 number parallels. And then there's a base Opti Chrome set, which has 40 cards and 3 parallels that are available. Your base set's 200 cards, all numbered to $9.99, 10 parallel sets, 10 plus autograph sets, 5 plus mem. You have 2 insert sets, which are cool because they have the guys in the collegiate uniforms and then also college uniforms. And a handful of number of guys. So there's some prospects to look for. So I've named off like 10 prospects here, and some of them are going to repeat in some other prospect products this week. But if you're a prospector, this is the week that you're going to go broke right before Christmas. So in this, you have Casey Mize, the first pick of the Tigers, Joey Bart, the second pick by the Giants, Alex Baum, the third pick by the Phillies, Nick Mangrel from the White Sox, who's the 4th pick, and Jonathan India was the 5th pick. Brady Singer, who was picked by the Royals, and I'm not just picking him because he was a Royal, but he was going to be a top pick, and then he had some injuries and signing issues, and he fell. Griffin Conine of the Blue Jays, the son of Jeff. Cody Clemens, the son of Roger. He's a Tiger. DJ Peters, who's a Dodger, who had a first Bowman auto last year. And then Kato Yuki, maybe Kato Yuki, Kansas City Royals. And the reason he's on this list is he's 16 years old. They signed this kid in the offseason, and he's 16 years old. He pitched in basically the same high school as you Darvish. He's 6'2", 170. His fastball's been clocked in the high 80s, 88. He was born in 2002. Good Lord. And
can we just say for a minute, I'm not okay with a set coming out with Roger Clemens, more so Jeff Conine's kids in them, because that shows how dated we are, with Guerrero and so many of these young kids that are now juniors, so to speak, that come from our era. I'm not okay with that.
Yeah, Ben, we're old, bud.
I know it's 1990. Still, 10 years away, or 10 years ago for me.
Yeah. I was opening 90 packs just 10 years ago. 90 Donruss, right, Ben? 90 Donruss.
That's right. Great set.
Also, 2018 Panini Playbook Football came out today. $140, 1 pack, 4 cards per pack, 4 autograph cards or mem, and one of them will be a booklet. Now, I really loved this back in 2012. I know Ben enjoyed it as well. It was a good set. Fun to open. You open it up, you have this like big book, and then there were 4 little packs. You got to open them. There's a retail version that has base cards in it. The hobby edition will not. And that's a 200 base card set. And again, it's the 100 vets, 100 rookies, and 8 parallels. But there are over 10 autograph sets, over 15 mem sets, and 5 insert sets. So a really good way if you go hobby. You're going to get 4 auto cards or 4 mem cards, and one of them is a guaranteed booklet. So if you're going to spend your money, and this is a good product to go after because you're going to get 4 hits for $140 if you buy hobby, and you're going to get, this is a pretty good draft class to do it in.
Yeah, it's a fun, I was helping with the local card shop back in the day when 2012 Playbook had come out, and it was fun to watch being opened. and the big hit was always in the same slot. So if you knew that, you could kind of do like a 1, 2, 3, 4 and build up to your big hit, which was always kind of fun too.
Yeah.
Is you spent your $200 or whatever it retailed at that time. It's like, do you just want your big, your big bang? You could just go grab it. Or if you want that, stair step and incline and, anticipation, let it build. And of course I never bought any of it personally, but I saw a lot of it opened, and it was always fun. And the 2011, 2012 stuff had a lot of big names, of course, in it as far as the quarterbacks go.
Yep. Brandon Weeden, Robert Griffin III.
Yeah.
Brock Osweiler,
Trent Richardson. Tannehill. I mean, hey, that top three, there was a lot of big names though in that Nick Foles. Yeah.
Nick Foles. Yeah.
Nick Foles in 2012. He had a lot of beautiful cards because the Eagles relics are just, I love the color green, of course. So for me, Nick Foles were a lot better than, say, Andrew Luck, who was just white and blue.
Best colors.
Well,
by the way, I want to point out, I was talking about this shirt last night. Here's the shirt I had as a child, which now I have in a giant size as an adult. George Brett right here, baby. I love him. So let me know. I'll go get with the link if you're looking for those. We got a ton of them. Even the McGuire one and the Canseco for you, Ben.
Yeah. Our friend Chris just asked, why doesn't Panini put odds on their football products like Topps has with baseball? And my response was, why doesn't Panini even release their own checklists?
Because they don't know.
They don't know. They don't care.
They don't know what's in there.
Buy it. Don't buy it. Doesn't matter.
Good luck.
Maybe
there's pictures of football players in there, hopefully.
Yeah. Most of them sticker. Could be signed by Dak, could be signed by somebody else. Doesn't matter. We have your money now.
Yeah, thank you. 2018 Leaf Metal Draft Baseball came out today. $100 a box. 1 pack, 6 cards per pack. They're all autographed. But they won't have any logos or anything, so they look like they're in a Pepsi commercial.
Yeah, but Leaf Metal, it's
neat.
It's nice. I mean,
there's 71 subjects in there with 9 autographs, and they are 71 subjects in there with 9 parallels. The Ohtani and Guerrero Jr. parallels are at a lower number than everybody else by like 5 or 10, just depending on the numbering. I didn't want to bore you with all the details. 7 autograph sets. There's, again, the prospects to look for in here. Again, Alex Baum, Casey Mize, Tatis Jr., Joe Adell, and Jordan Adams of the Angels. Jordan Adams is an interesting one because he's a big-time football prospect as well, and I think he's choosing baseball, just like the Heisman Trophy winner. Good luck at trying to collect Kyler Murray, Ben. Joey Bart, Nick Mangrel, Ronald Acuna, Ohtani, and Guerrero Jr. all have autographs in this. So,
oh wow, I didn't realize it went that deep.
Yeah, with 6 autographs per box for $100, you hit an Ohtani, you hit an Acuna, not bad. You hit a Joey Bart, not bad because he's not in. Well, I just let some out. You guys might know, but we'll get to it. Here we go, Ben. I know what.
That's about $15 an auto, right? What's it work out to about like 1667 or something like that in auto? I mean, it's not bad. I mean, I'd imagine that if you went right now, if we both took $100 bill and both went on there and bought 6 autographs, we could probably have a little bit of money left over. But how much money would you really have left over? Maybe $30, $40, if you got them for $10 an auto. But you're also getting the lesser guys on that checklist.
Yeah.
So for an option of, or an opportunity to hit one of those bigger names.
Those could be the guys, though. Like, those could be the guys you want.
You never know.
Yeah.
How you and I talked about being at Teammates, our local card shop a few times, and what box should we open? There it is. If there was one sitting there and we both went 50-50, and we're like, listen, if we get a PC guy, that's your card. But we're going to take these other 6 cards and we're just going to sit on them. And Leaf doesn't have the resale value, of course, but if you got no Ohtani or an
if it is the first autograph of a big prospect before it comes out in Bowman or Elite, then that's a big deal. So
it'd be fun to open a pack, get 6 cards and see what you get.
So, but I know you've been setting your shillings aside for this next product.
Yeah.
Yes. 2018 Topps Transcendent Collection comes out on Friday. $30,000 a box. Cool 30. one box, and you're going to get a complete set of the Transcendent Icons base cards, a complete set of the original sketch reproductions, 50 Transcendent Collection autographs numbered to 25 or less, one 1952 Superfractor 1 of 1, one Mike Trout through the years autograph, a 1 of 1, one auto patch or cut signature relic book 1 of 1, one oversized cut signature 1 of 1, one Transcendent Moment sketch 1 of 1, and one Mike Trout VIP experience invitation to go meet Mike Trout and hang out with the Tops guys and even get more cards. There's 83 boxes made because they're going to the 83 design, and that's why there's these, so you're going to get 83 different Mike Trouts of these one-on-ones that they have, and it'll be.
Weren't there only like 60 something last year?
No, it was 87 last year.
Are you sure?
Yeah, and the year before there was 65.
Yeah, 65. Because I've got the Ricky Henderson base card, so I apologize. Yeah, you're right, 65 and 87. So they went with a few less. Oh, shut up.
So I know there are a few breakers out there. We talked about this last week. They're selling a spot where you get one card for a couple $100, I think it is. And not my cup of tea. I love to watch the breaks, though. It's neat. And then the best thing is the guys going to the meet and greet. Last year was Hank Aaron. The year before it was Chris Bryant. This year it's going to be Trout down in Arizona. So it's good. I always like to see those videos and what happens. And, Tom Fish ends up with, I don't know, like 10 invites or something out of the 83, which is weird. But hey, you spend the money, I guess you get to reap the rewards. So you've bought a few before. I've never bought a Transcendent card. You bought them secondary. What was that experience? I mean, were you paying $100 a card or?
The first one that I bought in 2016, numbered out of 65. They were both Ricky Henderson in the base set. Yeah, I thought, how cool would it be just to own something that came out of a box that's $30,000? It's an arbitrary number. As far as what Topps charges for them, it's all, what somebody's willing to pay for this crap. So for me, it was like, all right, well, I'm not going to spend $30,000 on a case. So to be able to get one, and it just happens to be number 24 out of 65, which is kind of cool. But yeah, it was pretty neat. I think I put like a $75 or $80 max bid on it, and if I remember correctly, I think I paid $36 for the first one.
Yeah, that's cool.
Which is weird because Ricky really sells well, and I was shocked to get it for that cheap. I think last year's I spent probably around the same amount. And of course now they're numbered out of 87. So I would imagine, if depending on who it is, if it's your guy. For Ricky Henderson, I'd probably have to spend another $40-$50 probably if he's on that checklist.
Yeah, Brett's in. I think he's been in every year. I don't know. I'd much rather spend that on Brett rookie cards. So
they're good looking cards. Yeah. They're. But see, was it last year, or the year before, the first year? There were actually autos that were falling apart. The gold metal frame.
Yeah.
Issues. I know Ozzie Smith had a couple that were falling apart, and it's just like, dude. Your quality control is bad on something like Gold Label, which would be comparable as far as the overall design of the framed auto. Cool. Gold Label's not that expensive, but Transcendent, this stuff better be pristine. It's a little disappointing overall to hear that kind of quality control coming out of such a. I mean, you're talking about that's the highest end product that's out there at the moment.
Yep. Also coming out Friday, 2018-19 Panini Revolution Basketball. It's $60 a box. Now, I like this, and we're going to get to this in a minute here. 8 packs per box, 5 cards per pack. You're getting 4 inserts, 8 parallels, and 4 rookie cards. So despite having tougher odds in comparison to other Panini sets, there are autograph cards in Revolution, and they boast top NBA players of vets and present guys and some key rookies. So it's more of a base set, kind of like I would compare it to like a Topps Big League or Opening Day, where you're going to be able to get a good set of cards. It's a 150 card base set with 10 parallels, has 3 Chinese New Year parallels. There's 100 vets, 50 rookies, limited autographs. So if you pull an autograph out of this, it's actually a pretty tough pull compared to their other products. And I think they have 3 autograph sets and 5 insert sets. So this is that product for basketball, maybe a little It's about the same. It's the same price as hoops, but you're going to get a little. I think a little bit more of a design to it than hoops, and so it's one of those good entry level products. I applaud Panini for putting out another value brand. This early in the season, especially Christmas time. Great, like present under the tree, right?
No, absolutely. I mean, anytime you have something, in the $40 to $60 range, it encourages people, especially this time of year, to go out and spend that kind of money. I'm sure it's a fun open. But the way I look at something like this personally is this promotes everything else, right? If the basketball season is now going on, 2 months now, going into 2.5 months, so these rookies now you're starting to get more familiar with which ones are the bigger names. Doncic being kind of the creme right at the moment, at least, and you get these young fans excited. These teenage kids that are collecting with their parents. You get a new box. I saw a kid the other day at the card shop, and he kept asking me all kinds of questions while I was going through a box. And he's probably about 12. And so I sat down exactly what I did, what I was doing, and answered every question for him because he's our future in this hobby. And his dad was there, and he was buying him some stuff. And, as I was thumbing through, he kept saying, "Oh, is that another Cody Bellinger?" And I'm like, "Yeah." I said, "All right, I'll pull every Cody Bellinger that's different that Greg had in that particular box." And we were sitting there and talking, and a product like this promotes that. You give a kid that, and he pulls a bunch of the young NBA rookies and superstars. It gets him excited, and for that next product that's not $60, that's $120, and maybe his parents are in a position to be able to purchase that. Maybe they're not, but you're starting to, it's one of those things. It's the appetizer, so to speak.
No, definitely. So I applaud them for that. And the big guy coming out this week got pushed back. 2018 Bowman Draft Baseball comes out Friday, and it comes out in 2 flavors, Jumbo and Super Jumbo. So Jumbo, $190 a box, and this price is going to fluctuate a little bit here. 12 packs per box, 32 cards per pack. Very easy to say. 3 autographs. A pack break is going to break down to 23 base cards, 7 chrome base cards, and 2 chrome base refractor parallels. A super jumbo is going to run you about $280, so another $100. You're going to get 5 packs, 120 cards a pack. That's a thick pack. That is a fat pack. That is a nice size pack.
Yeah.
You're going to get 5 autographs in that, so you're going to get an autograph a pack. Hey, that's even better. That's cool. Each pack is 1 autograph, 78 base cards, 33 chrome base cards, 8 chrome base refractor parallels per pack. Like, that's a juicy pack.
What's it going to cost? What's our retail?
$280
on that 1 pack.
No, on a box.
No, what I'm saying, just for 1 pack.
Oh, what pack, $280 divided by 5. What is that, real quick?
You're looking at $45.
Yeah, $50 a pack, probably retail. 56, yeah.
So if I'm in there and I got $50 and so I know I can get,
so you have $60. You can buy a box of Revolution basketball or 1 pack of Super Jumbo.
Depends on what you collect. One's basketball, one's baseball.
Yep. I'm probably going to go Super Jumbo because I'm going to get that guaranteed hit.
Well, yeah, and it's also not only a guaranteed hit, but it's also from a Bowman prospect product. So,
thirsty. Yeah, we're thirsty for Bowman.
Yeah, well, yeah, because I mean, you're not buying Transcendent. So if you're a baseball collector, this is Bowman's Best is coming out probably, I think, after Christmas before the first of the year. But this is it until Flagship.
Yeah. Oh, Flagship.
So I mean, you're talking.
So excited.
For the next 6 to 8 weeks, that's it.
Yeah.
As far as baseball goes,
Yeah, I'm going through some stuff. I'll talk here in a minute about it. But 200 card base set. There's 10 base parallels, 12 chrome parallels, and 14 base image variations. So if you're going to build a rainbow, there's 22 cards plus your base card. So, fill a couple pages there, one guy.
Let me tell you something real quick about that. My dad was asking what refractors were the other night.
Yeah, explain it though, because a lot of people might not know what a refractor is.
Yeah, he's been watching our podcast, and he's like, he's like, can you guys explain certain things to like the naive or beginning collector, and which means we need to start getting started on those dime box podcasts that we were talking about.
The editions.
But I had explained to him, you have your like Bowman Chrome, you have your paper card, and then you have your Bowman Chrome card. And then you have a refractor, which is just a little shinier. Oftentimes the refractors might be numbered out of 499. And then is when it starts to get stupid. And I had put together almost a complete rainbow of AJ Puck from Bowman, the Bowman paper product at the beginning of this year. And I've got 22 parallels. And I'm missing a couple of the shimmers and I think one of the reds and, of course, the supers. But I showed him all the different versions, and he's like, "Are you kidding me?"
Yeah,
I'm like, "But Dad, wait, there's more. This is AJ Puck. Let's go back to that first page where there's 8 A's in the set, and let's do it for Jesus Luzardo as well, and Greg Diekman." And I'm like, he goes, "Wait a minute. They made all of these cards for everybody." I'm like, all 200 subjects on the checklist. Get all of these.
But I don't believe some of them exist, to be honest, because I've been looking in Bowman Draft. Bowman Draft for Garrett Hampstead, and the gold shimmer. I think I've seen one on eBay, and I missed out on it. And the black one's been pulled. I'm trying to build, but it's gonna be impossible. Like I haven't seen a red.
Yeah,
I don't know. So
a couple years ago, I think it was 2016, maybe 17. Lazaro 2017. Lazaro Armenteros, one of the young Cuban prospects in the A's organization. I put together like 3 team sets, and then the gold shimmer was out of 50, and I was like, all right, well, I think there's only 4 guys, maybe 5 in the team set. Let me go ahead and grab the golds, because 2 of them were extremely inexpensive. I think there were 5. I grabbed the other 2, and then I needed just Armenteros. That's the only one I need to complete this other parallel set. 1 came to auction. There are currently, I think, 3 or 4 listed on eBay, but they're all graded, and I don't buy graded cards, and they're all stupid expensive. But that's it. That's like I've only seen 5 or 6 of the 50.
Yeah.
The majority of which were graded, and they popped graded. Like, what are the odds that 5 of these got pulled out of packs, immediately got graded and put on eBay? Not raw, because I only saw 1 or 2 ever go raw, and I'm just like, you got to be kidding me.
Yeah.
It's like a lot of the stuff, for whatever reason, doesn't hit the open market, and we know that. Either it doesn't get packed out, or a lot of the stuff you also have to say, okay, well, it's going to go into private collections. But, anything worth $1 these days seems like it's going to hit eBay at one time or another.
No, definitely. It's, sometimes I just don't know if they, do they exist?
Well, there was that one, I think it was Otani, that they had promoted. The Japanese version.
It was just the one.
It was the one, and it was the one that got pulled was serial numbered exactly the same as the one that was packed out. And I think it was our friends over at Mojo who had been speaking about it one time. And they're like, that's it. We've never seen another one. Nobody's ever said it. Like, hey, I pulled it, not for sale, but I pulled it. Okay, cool. At least I've seen it, and I know it exists. Yeah, so you're telling me only 1 got pulled, and there was a considerable amount of them, I'm not mistaken. There was like 50 of them or something that allegedly existed. And then you got the Chris Bryant black autos that mysteriously surfaced a year or 2 after.
Yeah.
Yeah. What happened to all of our Allen and Ginter wood parallels this year?
No one knows. We need to get back and ask about that from the National. Oh, we're looking into it. Yeah. Real quick, back to Bowman before we get way off the trains crashed a long time ago. There's 7 autograph sets and 7 base image so there's 7 guys that have base variation of autographs, 62 autograph subjects, and 15 refractor parallel autographs. So good luck building that rainbow. Again, prospects to look for, a lot of the same guys. You have Alex Baum, Brady Singer, Cody Mize, Conine, Jordan Adams, India, Clemens, Mangrel, and then Ryan Weathers, the son of David Weathers. You remember him on the expansion Marlins. His son, I believe, is a Padre. He's a pitcher. Number 2 pick, Joey Bart, is not in drafts, so he should be the headliner in 19 Bowman.
So should Kyler Murray as well.
Kyler Murray was the other guy, yeah.
Yeah, I think Murray's going to be the big boy in Bowman Chrome. I would imagine one or both of those guys will be On the front of the box.
Yeah. They'll both be on front of the box. And Bowman, 2019 Bowman jumbo boxes will be $7 million because you have a Heisman Trophy winner in there and Joey Bart. So good luck, pre-order it now. There's 4 insert sets. They also have top of the class box toppers. Love me some box toppers. 12 cards and 11 of the 12 subjects have autographs, and they're all numbered to 35 or less. So give it up. We need more box toppers. I pulled a Miguel Franco purple shimmer auto one year, and it was great. Loved it. It was cool. And I sold it. I'm glad because now he sucks.
Yeah, I got a AJ Puck box topper out of.
Is that Puke? AJ Puke?
No, it's Puck.
I think it's Puke.
No, it's Puck.
Next week's releases, we back off a little bit as we get a week out from Christmas. What's brewing next week? 2018 Panini Donruss Optic Football. So I'm waiting for this to come out. 2018 Panini Donruss Optic Prism Football to come out.
Good tight.
Yeah. You also have 2018 Leaf Best of Football, which that's going to be neat. That's always fun to watch. And then 2018 Bowman's Best Baseball comes out. So a week after Bowman Draft comes out, you spent all your money on Bowman Draft. Best of Baseball comes out, and you're going to need to spend more. So that was a lot to cover. A lot of new stuff.
Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, and anything.
Festivus for the rest of us.
Yes, that's really. I just can't believe they're dropping that much on us. 12 days before the holiday. Did I lose you? I cannot hear you.
Yeah, give me one sec. Comcast, thank you, everybody. It's been having awesome issues tonight in my house. I didn't have internet until an hour before the show started. And ever since then, I've been getting weird little bumps and little notifications. So you guys are awesome for your big bucks you charge me a month for this. Just the stupid internet in my house. I don't even have it for TV because you guys are god-awful. Anyway. Infield chatter, hobby talk. So last week we talked about our favorites of the 90s. I got super inspired, and I went out and I bought.
Nice 1991 score.
Oh my god! There we go. 1991 score baseball complete set. I got 2 of them for the price of 1. The guy was just giving them away in free shipping. Nice. So I already busted one of the boxes and sorted it and put it away, and played with it and looked at all the cool head. But I kept this one because you have Kirby's titties on the front.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You have the greatest pitcher of all time. You have an amazing prospect bust in Terry Schrumpert. The cool Griffies. Okay, the Bob Welch forkball, this Frank Thomas black card, which was one of my favorite looking cards of all time. I went through this set though, and there are some of the coolest flipping cards in this set. This might be one of the best sets of the 90s. There's the Naked Ricky.
Yeah, my dad was on eBay and he sent me a couple of cards. He sent me the parody set, the cartoons. I already had both of these, but he sent them to me anyway. So, but yeah, it's kind of funny that we happen to be talking about, and that just came in the mail yesterday, the day before.
Yeah. Enjoy Kirby's titties are my favorite. Yeah. So hey, we and Steph was going to cover this, but real quick, we want to celebrate for Crack and Wax in 10 years this month. Congratulations,
our friend Topher, and his wife, Literal Quirk, I believe, is where you can find her. They're a great couple. They do a lot of charity breaks. Good parts of the community. Would love to have Topher on at some point in the future. Definitely maybe in the next couple of shows if we can get him on. He's got the issue of us starting at 8 p.m. Pacific time, and he lives up in Minnesota. So it'd be nice to have him on there and talk about his charity breaks and all that he and his wife do for the hobby.
We can even do a special edition show maybe. We'll figure it out. The hot topic on Twitter and eBay and the world this week was on the 1990-91 hoops, Mark Jackson. So last week on Reddit it was posted that in the background of the 90-91 hoops, card number 205, Mark Jackson, both of the Menendez brothers are sitting courtside, and the photo was taken after their parents had been murdered. One card sold for $56. I heard a bunch were going for around $20 a piece, $25. People are listing the card with the Menendez murders, etc. in the listing, and then eBay on Monday pulled the listings, and the response was pretty interesting. I have one of them saved here about why they wouldn't let the card be sold anymore. I know that somebody's been put the card on with a little question mark over where their faces are. And the tweet here.
While you're looking for that, Beckett had a piece on it, basically stating, I don't know if it was breaking news, you know, how all these sports writers, hey, Ken Rosenthal had this first. You know, I don't know if Beckett was the first one, but they did have an article on both the card and, you know, why you would want the Mark Jackson card if you're into off the beaten path cards. And that's where I first read it, that eBay was pulling these because they were linked to a known murder, which creates its own, you know, issue in and of itself. You have that eBay disclosure handy?
You know, I don't. It's
in a nutshell, I believe all it said was, you know, we're pulling this listing
stuff due to murders. Yeah,
we're pulling the listing because the listing involves, it has something to do with a known murder. But type in Charles Manson, type in O.J. Simpson, type in Ray Caruth. You can find anything Aaron Hernandez. You can find these all day long. Why this one's being targeted?
Got a lot of pub.
I think why it's being pulled, not that it should matter, but people are saying 1990-91 NBA hoops, Mark Jackson, number 205, Menendez brothers.
Yeah.
By the way, you mentioned their name, that's why.
Both Kyle and Eric were in prison, and one was in Folsom, where I grew up.
Folsom, yeah.
The other was in right out there in
Mule Creek in Ione.
Creek. Yeah. My buddy worked at the prison before he got transferred out.
Yeah, I forget which one it was, but
it was Lyle was out Mule Creek, and Eric was in Folsom. And Eric actually married a lady that lived in Folsom that had a little store in Folsom and was like a total normal lady, and he married her. I don't know, but Lyle, my buddy said, was a freak show.
Yeah, my daughter went to school in Ione, California, which is about for people not familiar with the area, it's about an hour outside of Sacramento. Kind of creates a third point of a triangle between Sacramento and Stockton, California. And from where I live, it's about a 25-minute drive, and we'd have to drive past Mule Creek, you know, all the time. You know, her elementary school is about an 8-minute drive from the prison. And, you know, Ione, California is basically known for two things: the Mule Creek prison and Preston Castle, which has been featured on Ghost Hunters, I believe Ghost Adventures, as being a, you know, haunted house of sorts.
Yeah.
But the whole city basically, you know, if you work locally in Ione, you work at the prison or the firehouse. That's basically all Ione is the three.
Well, Folsom's known for three things. It's going to be four soon, but the lake, the prison, Folsom Prison, and
thanks, Johnny Cash,
and me,
and you. Yeah, absolutely.
I'm internet famous. And then also to Jonah Williams, who will be a top 5, if not top 10 pick in the NFL draft out Alabama junior, played left tackle, my position in my old high school. He was probably a little better than me, I guess, if he's playing at Bama and going to be a top 10 pick in the NFL draft. And I'm here.
You only played one position along the offensive line. I figured you made up the whole left side.
Oh, thanks, bud.
You're welcome.
2018-19 tops, or I'm sorry. Hold on. There is this year, the 18-19 tops 582 Montgomery Club. It's a new membership program exclusively with cards that pay tribute to the earliest history of tops. Now, the club is a private club, and you had to buy in. It was like $200 to buy in. And you were going to get a 20-card set with autographs and the specialized stamp on it. And then you were given exclusives to buy, like the first dibs to buy into a high-end product, which ended up being the 2018 Brooklyn Collective box set. And it was only $1,000, but they didn't tell you what it was. It was just 5 hand-signed cards. And we were going to talk about this last week, but we just didn't have enough time. And we brought it on this week. But and the members will also get the first to renew into 2020 if Topps elects to continue the program. and the spots were limited. There's no specific number given. And if there's say 100 spots and only one person drops out, only one spot will become available. I saw some of the cards in the picture. They were ugly as shit. And they were like just now found releases or designs that Top never used. But yeah, I know why they weren't reused, because they sucked.
Yeah, no,
they're all going to be Ohtani, Acuna, Trout, Harper.
Yeah. Look at the top five guys. Throwback Thursday set, and that's basically what this is going to be. I was for $200. Yeah, I guess there's enough value to get your $200 worth with just the initial stuff that you're going to get. But for exclusive rights to buy such a stupid product and stupidly expensive product, I guess I should say. Let me rephrase that. But I can't tell you how many people I saw on Twitter and in Facebook groups that are like, well, I guess I had to spend $1,000 because I already spent the $200. It's one of those things. I don't want to feel obligated to have to buy a high-end product. And even the people that may have more financial wherewithal, that's really kind of how it came across. They weren't excited that they had this exclusive rights. They're like, I guess I have to.
Yeah.
And it is ugly. It is absolutely ugly.
Yeah, I don't get it. I could have figured out. I mean, you could go buy a bunch of Bowman Jumbo, for the same amount of money and have just as much fun. You get to open the packs, you get to wait for the prospects to hit.
That's I know. Fun. I think it was Doug with Mojo had brought that up on their podcast, The Hype, saying that he bought in because, why didn't you and I go halvesies and buy in, right? And he's like, I felt like
Dan was the best. He goes, the 1,000. I was like, just whatever. I didn't even look. I just paid. Just put on the credit card and said pay.
Yeah, it's just they were kind of like in that. Guess we got to buy it.
Yeah,
and it's like I don't want to be in that position. Like I guess I have to buy it because I already bought the membership. So
you're in this club in Vegas. You paid $200 to get in the door. You're not going to buy the $100 vodka tonic.
Yes, you got to. Yeah. I'd rather go sit at the bar that costs me nothing, and if I want to buy the vodka tonic for $12, I will.
Yeah, or go just sit and gamble the money away, and hopefully you could win some and get the free drink.
Or stay at home and just buy baseball cards with them.
Or sit home in the closet and just drink. Which this next segment might make me do that. So I asked all the guys, name the top 5 players in your mind that aren't in Cooperstown but should be. And since Steph isn't here, we'll let him lead off. And guess what? There's only one twin. So he didn't go like Herbeck and, Dan Gladden and Viola, which is nice. Well,
can we preface it and say what brought the topic up was?
Yeah, is the two shittards that got in the Hall of Fame this week, and Lee Smith and Harold Baines. Now, don't get me wrong, these guys were really good baseball players, like really good baseball players in their time, right? They weren't excellent. They weren't game changers. They weren't. If you said those guys' names, you're like, dude, those were really good guys. They're not Hall of Famers, though.
To me, it's like, all right.
We had this conversation about like the Hall are really good. These guys are really good.
Yeah, like a Willie Mays, for instance, was like getting an A+ on everything you've ever turned in your entire, elementary, high school, and collegiate life, right? Harold Baines would be like getting a B+ the entire time. Nothing wrong with that. It's respectable, and it's a fantastic GPA, and you can look back and go, hey, I did great for my ability. I just wasn't quite as good as maybe the valedictorian.
Yeah,
and there's nothing wrong with that.
So
and that's Harold Baines.
Our lists are kind of mixed because it was like guys we think they should be in, and some borderline guys. So here we go. So number 5 for Steph was Sweet Lou Whitaker. Garbage. Okay, garbage. Number 4, Larry Walker. You can see that, right? Larry Walker. He's really good there. Tony Oliva, the twin. Number 2 was Pete Rose. Number 1 was Edgar Martinez. Not a bad list. Not a bad list. I agree with a good majority. But again, Pete won't get in because of gambling. And then Edgar because he played DH and didn't really play a position. But Harold Baines pretty much DH for a good chunk of his career. Larry Walker gets hurt by Colorado. Lou Whitaker, why he's in the conversation, I don't know. I'll let Ben explain that later. But Ben, what was your top 5?
So just real quick, the way I looked at it was guys like Clemens and Bonds and guys that have fallen off the ballot like McGuire and Palmeiro, Sosa. These guys don't get in because they're the steroid era guys. So they're all lumped together. Let's set that group aside for a minute, because I think we can all agree that once the steroid era guys get in, the floodgates are going to open for quite a few of those. So Bonds and Clemens, for me, being the two guys that are still on the ballot for the time being, I'm set those guys aside for one moment and make it just Harold Baines is in, so now you've got to let the following guys in. My list, in no particular order, was also Lou Whitaker. I know we were talking about it before the show.
I almost didn't want to do the show. I almost want to kick Ben off the show for this.
He had a WAR of 75. If you're a WAR guy, very impressive. Obviously, he's linked to Alan Trammell. Trammell gets in, Whitaker gets in.
Why? Because they had hands for 20 years?
No, because they're linked together. Whitaker's career is impressive. It's not Hall of Fame worthy, and I would not put him in there. But now that Baines is in there, it's just kind of like he's holding the door open, like come on, everybody else can come in too now.
He's open the back door of the theater. That's what he does. When you go in the movies, he's open the emergency exit and he's letting people in. But the fact that Alan Trammell's in,
but Baines isn't even opening the door. When he opened up the emergency door, put a rock there, and he's outside smoking a cigarette, and he's talking on his cell phone, and people are just kind of walking in.
Even he was surprised they called.
He was. He's like, yeah, I was surprised. Guys that I think
on here with your list.
Guys that I think were borderline to begin with, and you can make a good Tim Raines style argument that now you have to let in.
At least the one time Raines was really, really good at something in the game. Like, you were scared to death when he got on base and was all coked up, right? And he was going to steal all the bases. But again, so was Vince Coleman. So
look at Raines' stolen base percentage. And my guy Ricky Henderson, I think he'd have to steal like 350 bases in a row without getting caught. Still, to have the stolen base percentage that Raines had. I mean, Raines was ridiculous in the early 80s. But now you got to let Fred McGriff in. His numbers are ridiculously superior to Baines. I was never a McGriff or the Hall of Fame guy until Baines got in. I'm like, all right, well, now McGriff gets in. Dale Murphy, who I think is right there, could kind of teeter either way. Didn't get enough support, 2-time MVP. Great guy as far as, an ambassador for baseball. Not that should come into the Hall of Fame discussion, but he doesn't have any of those black marks that other players like an Albert Bell would. You look at Murphy's numbers and you put him upside anybody else in the 1980s. Baines is in, Murphy gets in now.
Also, he was an MVP, so he was back-to-back. So it means for 2 full seasons, he was the best player in the National League.
Right.
Baines never got the top, I think, 8 in MVP votes.
Baines is one of those guys, like, he just hung around for 30 or 40 or 50 years and just kept hitting.
I think he's still playing, right?
He might be. Julio Franco looks at him and goes, wow, I want to grow up to be Harold Baines. When you look at his qualifiers, which is another argument I got in about Nolan Ryan this week on Twitter, what did he do? He finished with like 140 hits shy of 3,000 after 22 years of just being a DH. At least McGriff had a position. He was a first baseman, but Baines was just like always a DH. And he didn't hit 400 home runs, and he didn't get 3,000 hits, and he didn't get any number where you could look and go, okay, well, he had that going for him. I mean, his WAR was sub 40. I mean,
or like any MVPs, right? Or led his team in the World Series.
Nothing. He just was always.
I think he was on the 90, he was on the 90s. He was on the 89 A's, was he?
Correct. I think he came in 90. He replaced Don Baylor at DH, but. He was one of those guys, though, you always wanted on your team. You knew what you were going to get out of Baines.
He was on the White Sox and the Orioles like 3 different times each.
Yeah, he was a great guy to have in your lineup, and I'd have Harold Baines on my team any which day of the week. So it's nothing against Baines, But just because you would have that on your team doesn't mean he's a Hall of Famer.
Who are the next two guys on your list?
Bobby Grich.
Yeah, Bobby Grich.
Grich. Now, I saw something the other day. Somebody was comparing Bobby Grich with Reggie Jackson, and who had happened to be teammates in New York. And again, it's California Angels. And they said, take away some of the accolades of the late 70s. And from like 79 through 86, Bobby Grich, they were talking about like the difference in both compensation. The Jackson was considerably overpaid compared to Grich. And then the fact that, just from like 79 to 86, Grich was more valuable on WAR, and you got him for cheaper at a much more desirable position, because he played in the infield, and he wasn't as big of a, distraction as Reggie Jackson was known to be. So when you compare Bobby Grich to Reggie Jackson, with the exception of the home runs, which is a big deal, Grich deserves consideration for being at least one of the better players for his era. And he's completely kind of like Dale Murphy, very underrated, and history tends to Bobby Grich, who? Yeah. I don't know if he's a Hall of Famer, but again, this is the caveat. Baines is in now, you get him. And then I lump two guys.
Your next one.
Two guys together who kind of, to me, are very similar in Dwight Evans and Keith Hernandez. Once again, I think that both those guys deserve consideration now. Just real quick before you get to yours, guys on the ballot that I'm going to look at differently now because Baines is in would be Larry Walker, Edgar Martinez, Kurt Schilling, and Mike Mussina. Even though some of those are pitchers, it's one of those things. Jim Rice is in, Harold Baines is now in, Lee Smith is in, Jack Morris is in. Okay, then Mussina and Schilling and Martinez and Walker all get in. And then guys that we've talked about in the past. How do we look at David Wright and Joe Mauer and some of the other guys that are just now retiring? If Baines is in, Adrian Beltre, who just announced his retirement, gets in unanimously. First unanimous player, Adrian Beltre. Why? Because Harold Baines is in. So, we're going to have to look at some of these guys a little bit differently than we would have just a couple of days ago.
Yeah. So, I don't know. It's weird.
All right. Let's see your top five.
My top five. Number 5, Pete Rose. Just put him in.
He's on the ban list, though.
I know.
That's why I left him and Joe Jackson off.
Pete Rose will be in once he dies. That's what they'll do to him.
Like the day he dies.
Yeah, the day after he dies, he's in the Hall of Fame. Number 4, Fred McGriff. Number 3, Dale Murphy, and how he's anyway. Number 2, Roger Clemens. Number 1, Barry Bonds. You didn't have rules against them using performance-enhancing drugs if they said and did. Okay. Sure. You looked the other way when these guys started doing this crap in 95 and 96 and 97 and to bring the fans back because you screwed us in 94 with the strike.
Cha-ching, cha-ching.
And you saw all the money these home run balls were getting and the dominance and all this stuff. And you brought the game back and all this and you made all your money. And then you look back and go, shame, shame, shame. And
now you're going to penalize them all.
Yeah. Let's not talk about the uppers and the greenies and all the speed that the guys that in the 60s and 70s did to play ball and got all the drinking and all the racist stuff in the early 20s and 30s that these guys did and the shit that they went. Let's not even get into any of that, right? But you're going to be mad because these guys did some stuff to whatever. Anyway, let them all in. Let them in. Shit, Bagwell's in. Anyway. So I put it out there, so with Baines and Lee Smith getting in, who else is not eligible for the Hall of Fame that should be in Cooperstown? I put out to the Twitter sphere, and I got 10 people came back to me. So we had Voss Brink, Nick F. Cards, Bean, Booby Main, Robbie came in, Card Cave, 29 Collector, who didn't put Wallach, by the way. PK Steinberg hopped in, Pine Andrew, KT Morris, and 1 Million Cubs all hopped in. There were 20 players mentioned. So this is the percent of ballots they got. So there was 10 ballots, basically. Bonds was on 80% of them. Clemens on 70. Rose on 70. Donnie Baseball was on 40. Lou Whitaker was at 30. Gil Hodges on 20. Joe Jackson got 20. McGuire and Clark got 20. God, in the Bay Area in the 90s, those guys were Hall of Famers. The late 80s, early 90s, those guys were Hall of Famers. Andrew Jones got a vote along with Bernie Williams, Steve Garvey. KT Morris is a Padres fan, by the way. And somebody voted for Oral Hershiser. Okay, so also hold on. Here's guys getting more. I got to go down farther. Jim Cott, Fred Lynn, Minnie Minoso, Tony Olivo, Dave Parker, and Ted Simmons all got one vote. And I can see Ted Simmons. I think that he gets lost in a lot of this conversation. You know, playing
he's a Bobby Grich kind of guy that kind of gets overshadowed, and you know, and there's a lot of this is so subjective, and you know that's why I wanted to preface it. I also meant to mention that I was going to leave guys like Joe Jackson and Pete Rose off the list. Specifically, you know, we all know the steroid guys. We all know that whole group should be in, you know, a long time ago. You know, so I wanted to kind of keep my list free of the steroid guys and the banned guys specifically, because there's caveats. There's reasons those guys aren't in yet, outside of the fact that certain guys like Jim Edmonds and Don Mattingly was grossly undervalued when he was on the ballot for his time, and yeah, Steve Garvey, Keith Hernandez, Evans.
But they're all in the Hall of really good. Like, they were really good players then.
And that's the thing is, when you put guys like Lee Smith, which at least when he retired, he was the all-time saves leader, and I don't believe in the save. I think it's a bullshit stat. But
he also was a hanger-on.
He was a hanger-on, and he was valuable. I mean, yeah, who wouldn't want him in their bullpen in the 80s? I mean, maybe not as a closer, but if he was on your team, I mean, he was still a valuable, you know, asset and commodity. But, you know, I don't think you and I grew up in an era where Lee Smith was really, you know, we were still young to kind of appreciate what his career was. You know, we kind of saw more of the tail end. But, you know, and of course we were a little too young for like guys like Suter and Gossage and whatnot. But, you know, if Suter and Gossage are in, then I guess Lee Smith is okay. I wasn't as upset by that one.
No, I'm more upset about the Baines one.
But now Billy Wagner has to get in now.
Yeah.
Because Smith is in.
Jeff
Wagner's got to get in.
Brian Harvey. Rob
Juan Berenger and Jeff Reardon. And
no, you got to let the nasty boys all in at once, right? Charlton, Myers, and
but they have to go in together. They all have to have the same bust.
Three-headed bust.
You know.
Anyway, so it was just a bunch of Hall of Fame talk, and you know, I want to get it back to cards really quick. I don't think Baines getting in the Hall of Fame or Lee Smith getting in the Hall of Fame makes his Baines' 81 tops card double or triple in price, or the 82 tops.
Just 36 cents. Went from 18 to 36 cents overnight, man.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's worth like the couple bucks you're going to spend. I mean, Baines really is the card in the 81 set. And when I did my 81 set over here, he's the card I picked for the spine label because he was like the one notable rookie in that set. And now he's a Hall of Famer, so maybe I just talking about.
I think Nolan Ryan and Ricky Henderson would be. Wasn't Kirk Gibson also a rookie in 81?
Yeah, 81. Yeah,
the Tigers.
Yeah, and then it would have been.
I think that's like it.
Like Gibby,
Gibson, Baines, Henderson, Ryan. I mean, those are your big ones.
But listen, this is the other. I'm just going to run through the 90s or the 80s really quick. So in 80 you had Henderson, 91 Baines, 92 you had two Ripkins. 83, you have, you know, Boggs, Sandberg, and Gwynn. 84, you have Mattingly. 85, you have Puckett and Mattingly, or Puckett, Clemens, and McGuire. 86, I mean, it was a little tough. You had Cecil Fielder. 87, I mean, you had Bo, you had another McGuire. Well,
86, you had Canseco if you go to traded.
I'm just talking base because Top screwed the pooch on that for a long time, messing guys up because 86 Bonds wasn't traded anyway. You know, 88 you go to Glavine, really, and then in 89 you have Randy Johnson and Spoltz. It's kind of about it. And then Griffey wasn't traded, so you know we were pretty lucky in those mid 80s. I mean those top sets were amazing. That's why I love those 80 top sets. I mean all the way through. So, plus the All-Star cards were cool and they actually fixed them for the most part this year. I have a stack here. I mean, the All-Star logo is really small down the corner, but at least like, it's not the stupid ones on the day before when they're set at the home run derby.
Just one final thought on this whole Hall of Fame thing. It's like there have been so many passionate fans that have argued about Jim Rice on the final year and Jack Morris on his final year, and then Tim Raines for years had guys fighting for him, and I think Jonah Carey was his biggest advocate, and then you had Mike Messina, guys that are advocating for his induction, and now it just seems like you can't have any more of those discussions and arguments anymore, because if you're like, let's talk about Joe Mauer, Harold Baines, mic drop, you walk away.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, that's what it's going to be now. It's so, and there's nothing against Harold Baines, because he was a good player for a very long time. He was a 275 hitter who's going to get you 140 hits, and he's going to, have 15 home runs and 73 RBIs, and you pencil that in out of the number 5 or 6 slot. Okay, cool. Your DH is set for this year.
He's also going to get the White Sox Wilson Alvarez and Sammy Sosa, or then George Bell. So,
yeah. So it's, I don't want this to be where we hate on Harold Baines.
No, it's not him. It's just if you take the name away and you just look at the stats, it's and how they qualify Hall of Famers now. It's a little watered down, I guess.
Well, it's like, and then Jerry Reinsdorf comes out and he was like, "Well, I didn't influence this at all. It was a committee of 16 people, and he got 12 votes." And yeah, I voted for him, but I didn't, advocate for him. And I'm just like,
Yeah. Anyway, so this month we went from like the longest show we've ever done with Ben and Tim to maybe the shortest show we've ever done with the two of us. So I don't know where the happy medium is. Steph kind of brings us in the middle there. But that's all we got tonight, folks. That's it. Remember, we are live every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time here on YouTube. Make sure to subscribe and review our show on YouTube, iTunes, and Stitcher. Let us know how we're doing. Follow us on Twitter about the cards. Follow Ben at Our Trading Cards. Follow Stefan at Junk Wax Twins to make sure he's still with us. Because he's out there in the ether somewhere floating around. He's in the Upside Down, to be honest. I forgot to tell you guys that. He's in the Upside Down, and we're trying to get him back. And the messages and trying to get over there has been very difficult. And you can always follow me at Big Shep 79. Again, guys, we love it. We love that you come and hang out with us every week and listen to our show and listen to us spew into the microphones and online. And the fact that we are 26 episodes, 27 episodes is mind-boggling to me. It's half a year. So thank you for putting up with us and then hanging out with us and spending your time with us and listen to us on your way to work. And I saw, again, people driving and watching us. So hey, be careful. Hi. And also, Kirby's titties. So,
hey, they're very nice. Man, that is a great set. So I'm glad we throw a shout out to Fun Set. Just like the cartoon set. That's the whole thing. My dad was like, "Hey, what a great set that was." And I guess I'm gonna have to look into it. He said there's some kind of a lawsuit about it.
Oh, so really?
If anybody's out there listening and you have links or anything, but yeah, it's a parody set. Had something to do with some kind of a copyright infringement or something, he said. So I'll have to look into that because it's a fun set.
Yeah.
And if you've never seen it, take a look. I think it was like from '93. Yeah, we enjoy doing this every week and talking about sports and cards and having fun with it.
Yeah.
So
well, guys and gals, have a great evening. Keep collecting. Let us know how your weekends go. If you pick up anything new, if you have any stories or anything else you want us to talk about, hit us up. Let us know. We're more welcome to, we're more than welcome to look into it and share it and share experiences. So that's it. Have a good night. We'll see you next week.